Okay, so we've all heard it, right? Stress kills brain cells. It shrinks your memory. It's this big bad wolf we're supposed to avoid at all costs. But what if that's not the whole story? What if stress isn't just about damage, but about remodeling? Yep, you heard that right. Today we're digging into the surprising science of how stress actually reshapes the very architecture of your brain.
So let's just jump right in. The big question we're tackling is what is really going on inside your head when the pressure's on? How does stress truly physically change the structure of your brain?
To get to the real answer, we've got to start with the story we all think we know. The one where chronic stress is just this purely destructive force.
And this is where that whole idea comes from. For decades, research has shown that when you're under long-term stress, a super important part of your brain, the hippocampus, can actually shrink. That's your hub for memory and learning, so yeah, that sounds pretty bad. And this single observation is really where our whole mystery begins.
Now, this whole shrinkage thing led scientists to a prime suspect, one single molecule that seemed to explain everything. And this theory stars a protein that's become a bit of a celebrity in the world of neuroscience. That celebrity protein is called BDNF, which stands for brain-derived neurotrophic factor. The absolute easiest way to think about it is like Miracle-Gro for your brain cells. It helps them grow, it helps them forge new connections, and it just generally keeps them healthy. It's a crucial ingredient for a thriving brain.
So the theory was pretty simple, right? Chronic stress lowers your levels of this brain fertilizer. Without enough BDNF, the neurons in your hippocampus just kind of wither, and that whole area shrinks. It's a clean, elegant explanation. But, as you've probably guessed, the brain is rarely that simple.
Just when scientists thought they had it all figured out, some really confusing evidence started to pop up. The brain just wasn't behaving the way this simple story predicted because something else was happening at the exact same time.
And here it is. This is the central mystery. Under the exact same chronic stress that makes the hippocampus shrink, another part of the brain, the amygdala, which is your fear and emotion center, does the complete opposite. It actually grows. It starts sprouting new connections.
This leads to a massive question that just blows that simple theory apart. I mean, if the problem is a brain-wide shortage of that Miracle-Gro, of BDNF, how on earth can one area be withering away while another one is thriving and expanding? It just doesn't add up. Clearly, our prime suspect wasn't acting alone. To solve this thing, we have to bring in another key player in the stress response. And these are the hormones that are so often painted as the villains of the story. Let's talk about glucocorticoids, or GCs for short. You've probably heard of the most famous one, cortisol. Well, instead of thinking of them as just bad, think of them as these powerful master switches. When you face a challenge, they flood your system to tell your brain and your body exactly how to respond and adapt. The thing is, our relationship with these hormones is kind of like a Goldilocks story. If you take them away completely, your brain cells actually start to die. If you have way too much for way too long, that's toxic too. But there's a just right amount that is absolutely essential for your brain's health and its ability to change. And this right here, this is the smoking gun. This chart shows data from a study where scientists could literally watch brain connections forming in real time. I know there's a lot going on, but just focus on the main idea. When the researchers blocked the body's natural stress hormones, see the blue bars? The brain's ability to adapt and form new connections just stopped, flatlined. But then, when they added those hormones back, that's the green bar, that ability, what we call plasticity, was totally restored. This proved it. Stress hormones aren't just villains, they are essential directors of brain remodeling.
And this is where the plot really thickens. Scientists discovered that these stress hormones can actually flip the very same switches inside a neuron that BDNF does. They can directly activate the BDNF receptor, basically mimicking our brain fertilizer. This means the stress hormone isn't just an accomplice, it's a partner with its own key to the whole system.
So what we're realizing is this isn't a story about one hero molecule and one villain hormone. The way stress affects the brain, it's a complex and coordinated team effort. It's a whole network of molecules working together. Because BDNF and stress hormones are working with this huge cast of other characters. You've got molecules like TPA that help activate BDNF, and neurotransmitters like glutamate and GABA that are constantly managing the brain's overall excitement levels. It's this incredibly sophisticated chemical conversation that's happening every single second.
And to make it even more personal, your own DNA plays a huge part. There's a really common variation in the BDNF gene that millions and millions of us have.
And depending on which version of that gene you have, your brain might release BDNF more or less efficiently, which in turn can influence your unique sensitivity to stress.
So, after all this investigation, what's the final verdict? What is the real story of stress in the brain?
Well, the answer comes straight from the researchers. BDNF isn't the sole decider of growth or decay. It's more like a facilitator. Its job is to get the brain ready to change. But the direction of that change, whether a connection gets built up or torn down, that depends on the context, especially on the coactivation of stress hormones and that whole network of other factors we just talked about.
So we really need to reframe our thinking here. Chronic stress isn't just about damage. It's a powerful signal for dynamic plasticity. Your brain is actively and intelligently remodeling itself to adapt to the world it thinks it's living in. From this point of view, shrinking memory circuits while growing fear circuits is actually a pretty logical adaptation to what the brain perceives as a dangerous environment, even if that adaptation isn't helpful in our modern lives.
And that leaves us with one last really crucial question. If your brain is literally built to remodel itself in response to stress, how does that change the way we should think about managing it? It suggests the goal isn't just to eliminate stress entirely, but maybe to shape the context around that stress, to help guide that incredible plasticity in a healthier, more useful direction. Now that is something to think about.